What's going on, guys? It's your boy Big Hero Chris back at you with another one. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, give me a thumbs up, ring the notification bell, hit me up on Twitter, TikTok, the community post. You already know the vibes. And I'm back at you with your NXT review. It's been a cool little minute since I reviewed an episode of NXT, but I am back because this is a special occasion. We have NXT on a new network on CW. Gosh, I haven't watched CW in years. I'm talking about back when The Flash was on the CW. That's how long it's been since I watched the CW, man. So it's cool, man. We got a new network. We got a new logo. We got a new theme. We got a new intro. We got new titles. We have Triple H and Shawn Michaels welcoming us to the show, introducing the new NXT Men's and Women's Championships. And then it started off with Julia taking on Roxanne Perez. And a lot of people were going back and forth as far as who they thought would walk out of this episode of NXT, your new NXT Women's Champion. A lot of people were saying that Julia was gonna change it up, you know, do some things, become the new NXT Women's Champion, and just go on this long Oscar type reign. Some people were saying that Roxanne was gonna win due to shenanigans. And we actually got shenanigans. But before we get to the shenanigans, we had a good match. And it is crazy how good Roxanne Perez, to be as young as she is. I think she's only like, what, 22, 23 years old? She's young. And she is really good at this pro wrestling thing. And Julia's no slouch either, man. I'm not all too familiar with her work. I've seen a couple of her matches, you know, before she got to WWE. And then, of course, the match she had against Chelsea Green. But Julia is really good. She has aura, as the kids like to say, and she's cool, man. She's fine. Julia's fine. She is fine. She's very pretty to look at. And honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing Julia and Roxanne Perez wrestle again for the NXT Women's Championship, because Roxanne is still your NXT Women's Champion due to outside interference from a returning Cora Jade. And her and Roxanne used to be tag team. I think they were the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions when that was a thing, and they used to be partners. They were besties. They were best friends, the bestest of friends. But you know, old Cora Jade turned heel, and now that Roxanne is heel, it's looking like they could, you know, link up one more time. And they even addressed this backstage. Cora Jade walked up to Roxanne Perez. She was like, "You're welcome." And Roxanne was like, "You know what, man? We're both bad guys now, so we can be friends again." So, because that's how wrestling works. But yeah, man, Julia is not your new NXT Women's Champion, but she will be in the future. Even though you have Stephanie Vaquer waiting in the wings. And you also had a video package from, a lot of people were saying this is from Delta. And again, this is another woman I'm not really too familiar with her work. I keep hearing her name pop up. I keep hearing how good she is. So for me, man, it's only a matter of time. And something that somebody else pointed out was the fact that the dates on the video package were 10 and 27. And that's when Halloween Havoc takes place. So it's looking like Delta is going to debut at NXT Halloween Havoc, which is a couple of weeks away. So after this, we had a video package from Fraxium. That's at Nathan Frazier and Axiom. You know, they're playing video games. They're playing against A-Town Down Under. And they can't get on the same page. They can't coexist. And in the video game, they end up losing. And they end up losing those NXT Tag Team Championships. Is that foreshadowing for the future next week in St. Louis? I don't think so. I think Fraxium is fine. I think they're going to win and retain and still be your NXT Tag Team Champions. But I wouldn't mind seeing A-Town Down Under stay in NXT for a while. Especially you, Austin Theory. I think Austin Theory, you can be pretty cool in NXT once again. So another video package we saw was from Javon Evans. He was talking about his match next week with Randy Orton. He talked about how much Randy Orton meant to him. He said that Randy's one of his favorite wrestlers to watch growing up. But you know, he's got to throw all the fan stuff out the side, throw the fan service out the window, because he's going up against a legend, the legend killer himself, Randy Orton. And then you saw Randy Orton talking about how, you know, he kept hearing so much about this Javon Evans kid, and he wanted to see how good he was for himself. And he also wants to hit him with an RKO. So that's going to come up next week. Next up, we have a street fight between Zachary Wentz and Wes Lee. And this match did not disappoint. There was tables and chains and flips and dives and all types of shenanigans. Shopping carts were involved, trash cans, and it was like, yo, a whole bunch of shenanigans going on, but it was my type of shenanigans. Wesley ended up getting the win. He's a heel now. He's evil. He's using dirty tactics like low blows and beating Zachary Wentz to death with a steel chain wrapped around his fist. And this was an overall fun match, man. Zachary Wentz even hit the Shane McMahon coast to coast. Everyone was saying, holy shit, holy shit. The internet was going crazy. Twitter was saying that trash can was Chris Jericho. I said it myself because it's funny. But yeah, man, like I said, Zachary Wentz lost. I don't know where this leads. Zachary Wentz, maybe he just goes back to TNA. Wesley, I think it's time for him to go after the NXT championship. You know what I'm saying? This was something I've been saying for the longest time. He was a good North American champion, but it's time for him to go to that next level and maybe challenge the winner of the NXT championship match in the main event that we're going to talk about in a few minutes. So I'm having fun. I'm enjoying myself, man. I'm like, yo, I love NXT so much. Nothing could possibly spoil this moment until it did, until we were subjected to having to sit through Miz TV. And listen, man, I'm not a Miz hater. I respect the Miz. I grew up watching the Miz on MTV and, you know, watching his rise in WWE. However, I do not give a shit about Miz TV. I don't care for it. I've never really cared for it. And on top of that, he had Miz turn heel on R-Truth. And it seemed that nobody cared about that either. So now you have Miz in Chicago. The people don't really care. They're booing the Miz out of necessity because he's a heel. But it's like, whatever. But this is to set up the a segment between Obafemi and Tony D'Angelo. And Obafemi's coming out, and the crowd is doing, and this is taking place in Chicago. This isn't in the NXT Performance Center. So you have people chanting, they're doing the ooh, ooh, as he's making his entrance. They're doing the ooh every time he talks. So Obafemi is over. Obafemi is a star already in NXT, and it's going to be real cool to see his star continue to shine as he, you know, makes it through NXT and makes it up to the main roster. And Tony D'Angelo was there. Tony D'Angelo was saying words, you know, good for you. I like Tony D'Angelo, but, you know, yeah, the real star of this segment was Obafemi. And, you know, they have an NXT North American Championship match next week. Hopefully, Obafemi wipes it for Tony D'Angelo. No offense to Tony D, but it's overtime, baby. We gotta ride that wave. We gotta ride the lightning, baby. So it's Obafemi. Let's go now. Oh my gosh. Now we have a tag team match between the Fatal Influence taking on the team of Lola Vice and Jada Parker. My God, when the yams touched the macaroni and cheese, it was beautiful. It was a sight to behold. I lost my composure, man. I'm not proud of the man I was when this match was taking place, but I digress. This was one of those can they coexist tag team matches between Lola Vice and Jada Parker. You already saw earlier in the show that they're not really getting along. One person like, no, I'm going to take the lead. The other person like, no, I'm going to take the lead. And then you have Kelani Jordan just looking like, yo, I got to do something about this, but I can't count on these two because they can't get along. So I have to have a trick up my old sleeve. So now this takes us to the tag team match I was talking about. And even though it was one of those can they coexist tag team matches, I actually had a little bit of hope for Jada and Lola because they were actually working pretty well together as a team until they started not getting along and not coexisting. You know, it's WWE. You have to have those can they coexist moments. And Jada Parker actually ended up walking out of the match. And Lola Vice, she was doing her thing. She was holding it down as much as she could. But Fatal Influence ended up getting the win. And then after the match, they call out Kelani Jordan, saying that we want that Women's North American Championship. And Kelani was like, "Listen, I'm smart. I figured you three would say that. So I came here with backup, and her backup ended up being Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. And I'm like, yo, let's go, black women, let's go." So this is all leading up to a 6-woman tag team match next week. It's going to be Jade, Bianca, and Kelani taking on the Fatal Influence. And I'm locked in. I'm ready. We get to see Jade Cargill wrestle in NXT. We get to see Bianca Belair return to NXT. And Kelani Jordan is awesome as well. So I ain't mad at it, bro. So now this leads us to our main event. Trick Williams challenging for the NXT Championship, taking on Ego. Check out with a smile. All Ego Ethan Page with CM Punk as the special guest referee. And throughout the show, you saw CM Punk talking to Shawn Michaels and Triple H. He had CM Punk had the biker shorts on. I'm not going to talk about what was going on in the shorts region, but that was a thing. You even saw CM Punk talking to Lexis King, and it's looking like they're turning Lexis King face. Like he's trying to be a good person. He's trying to be a good R-Truth. So we'll see how that goes. But we go back to our main event, and this is a really good match. Now, the first time Trick Williams and Ethan Page wrestled, it wasn't really all that good. But this was miles and miles better. This was head and shoulders better over the match that they initially had. And another thing I got to talk about is the fact that Trick Williams is another one, man. He's another one of them ones. He's a star. He's over. The whole crowd was chanting "whoop that Trick" as Trick Williams was making his way to the ring. And then he had the added bonus of CM Punk as a special guest referee. And he lived up to his end of the bargain. He said that he was going to call her straight down the middle. He wasn't going to play any favoritism. He was just a non-biased referee. You had Ethan Page trying to cheat right in front of CM Punk. CM Punk's like, dude, what are you doing? I see your feet on the rope, man. Stop it. So you had the barricade spot. You know, you had Trick knees, and Ethan Page almost won until he didn't. And then it looked like shenanigans were getting a shenanigan. I was getting a little nervous because I thought Ethan Page was going to finagle his way out of this match and still be the NXT champion. But that wasn't the case. Trick Williams hit the trick shot on Ethan Page, and he is a two-time NXT champion. And the hilarious part was you have Trick Williams celebrating. There's pyro going off. You got the confetti flying in the background. And while all this is happening, you have CM Punk and Ethan Page arguing. CM Punk hits Ethan Page with the GTS. Trick Williams is celebrating. And then you have the credits roll. And this is something funny that WWE does now. They have credits, you know, crediting Lee Fitting and Triple H and Shawn Michaels. And I don't know why that's so funny to me, but it is. But there you have it, man. Your first episode of NXT on the CW. And NXT is one of my favorite things to watch as far as wrestling goes. I love it. I love NXT. I understand it's not for everybody, but fuck you. NXT is for me. But with that being said, what did you think of this week's episode of NXT? Let me know in the comment section below. Of course, as always, like, comment, and subscribe. You guys take care. Be easy. I'm out. Peace.